So you have selected for me to read Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I am 30% into this book, and I am, much to, I'm assuming, no one's surprise, really enjoying this book. I am 30% into the audiobook. That was kind of the only way that I was able to get my hands on this book, and I'm enjoying it. I haven't really had much to say before this point, so I didn't really want to just like get in front of a camera and say like, it's good. And I'm still kind of at that point, like I don't know that I have super articulate thoughts to say yet, except for I am in awe of the way that this is written. It's beautifully done. I was kind of worried going into this that I would kind of hate the lyricism of the story. I've heard that Madeline Miller does really beautiful prose and stuff, and I'm like, cool. I don't know. I'm not someone who's usually very impressed by flowery writing, and this isn't flowery, but I just think the way that it's told, it really does feel like an epic almost. Like you can definitely tell, I mean, since you're going from, you know, not the birth of this kid, but like 10 years old all the way to his adulthood, you're getting just that like, yeah, coming of age, like epic kind of story feel. I'm not very good at articulating my thoughts on this. I'm also not someone who knows a ton about the story of Achilles and Patroclus. Do they even have like a story together? Before this, I don't know. I don't know much about this story. I mean, I did read Oedipus and like all that shit back in the day in high school, but I literally remember nothing of Greek mythology. I'm not sure if I'm the best person to be speaking on this, but like I'm enjoying the way that it's told, and goddamn, this shit is so gay in the best possible way. I'm really enjoying that. I think that the tension that's built is perfect, and I can totally understand why so many people relate to this story, enjoy the story, and see it as like a beautiful romance. I mean, I'm not very far into it. I think they're still like in their early teen years, so nothing like truly romantic has happened yet, but I am such a sucker for a good friends to lovers romance, especially when it is childhood friends to lovers. You see their development over time. I love stories like this, so I really do think that this is going to be a winner. Not to speak too soon or anything, but I do think that I honestly don't remember where we left off before I was interrupted. I just checked my mail. I say checked my mail. I got a delivery. I decided to treat myself to some new jewelry because I hit 50K, and also I got a bonus at work, so. Back to the subject at hand. Like I said, enjoying this book. I think the only like real scene that I have, I don't say connected with, but the only thing that I have to like really remark upon besides just like the general beauty of the writing and stuff is the scene where both of the boys are with Chiron, the like, is he a centaur? I don't fucking know. He's got hooves. He is teaching the boys like various things, and like they're supposed to be learning, and I don't know. He says that Achilles has nothing else to learn when it comes to war and battle. Like he is a skilled fighter. He's going to be like the fighter of his generation. No one's better than him. And then he tells Patroclus that he has average skill and that he's never going to be like famous for anything. That was a little bit heartbreaking. So I'm hoping that things turn around for our man because he's so adorable, and I love that it's told from his point of view, kind of not from the underdog, but you know, like what it's like to not be the star of the show. I don't know. I feel like so often we get the point of view of the famous person or the person who's like, you know, the chosen one, and now we get to see from a different point of view. So I think that's pretty cool. But all that being said, I don't have much else to say about this book yet. I think I need to get to like the halfway point to really have a true opinion on it, but so far so good. It's cute, it's gay, it's everything that I had expected and anticipated, and that's really all that I can ask for. So I like how I said that they hadn't like done anything sexual because they were young, and then literally like half an hour, not even half an hour later, like 10-20 minutes later into this audiobook, they start like petting each other, getting very frisky. Beyond that, a lot of shit has happened, none of which I'm like super excited about, which is sort of frustrating because like the idea behind this book I understand why people like it, but I don't know if it's really resonating with me, and I don't know if it's because I'm listening to it on audio and I'm not like very raptly and intently interested or like, you know, whatever, attentive to the story, but I'm just like not blown away. And I think part of it is because it's not a romance. I mean, like there are romantic elements to it, and like there definitely is a male-male relationship that happens at the center, but I don't think that like this story is what I want it to be. That sounds bad, but I don't know. The things that have happened, I'm like, what the fuck? I guess we can get spoilery in the moment, but essentially Achilles ends up getting like taken away by his mother, and then whenever Patroclus finds him, I don't know how many months or years later, he is married to a woman who he has impregnated, and he is able to kind of get away from that situation though. Like it wasn't an agreeable match or some shit. I don't fucking know. Anyway, they end up a few years later, or I don't even know like what the time period is for all of this, to be honest. Like I have no idea, but he ends up, both of the boys end up joining the search for Helen of Troy. They're basically gonna go to war for Helen of Troy, which like I think I'm stupid, but I do remember that from Greek mythology and whatever history. I don't know how much of this shit actually happened. None of it. A random girl just got slaughtered as sacrifice to the gods, and someone tells Patroclus that he needs to allow Achilles to be a killer because that's what he's here for. He's supposed to be a warrior, and like if that's what he's supposed to do, and he's too soft-hearted. I don't know, the plot is just not that compelling to me, which is disappointing since this book is you know, a favorite of so many people, but I'm just like I'm just not blown away. My camera's dying, so I'm gonna go, but I'm sad. If your name is Heather or Carly, please click off of this video. You're not gonna like what I have to say. So I'm always so conflicted when this kind of shit happens, like when I rave about a book and then I end up not loving it. But I think it also is kind of cool to get my emotions as I'm reading, you know? Like I did enjoy this at the beginning, and then the last half, it just really didn't work for me. How do I say this? I don't fucking like Greek mythology. I forgot how much I disliked it. I dislike everything about it. How everybody has to die. Everybody has a fatal flaw. You know, and I guess that's like realistic to human beings in general, right? Like everybody is flawed and like we do stupid shit. But the end of this book was just so boring. I'm not really into like war or like battles, and that was like the last half of this book was just, you know, people at war, people getting ready to go to war, and then some tension between Achilles and Agamemnon, I think. I just didn't give a fuck. I really, how would I describe this book to people? I was telling someone just a second ago via text that I think this book has too much romance for fantasy lovers, but I also think it doesn't have enough romance for romance lovers. Like I just didn't get what I wanted out of this story, and I understand that like the point of the story wasn't necessarily to be a romance, but that was sort of at the forefront of the story, and yet I don't know. I literally don't know what I would have preferred. I think that's the hardest part about this book. It was an enjoyable enough read. I wasn't completely turned off from finishing it or anything, but it just didn't do it for me. I don't know. I wanted it to be more romantic. I just feel like the romance portion of this book happened very, very early on, and then the latter half, like I said, was just content that I didn't care much about. And I did enjoy the plot elements in the first part of the book when it was a smaller cast of characters, when things were simpler. I read a couple of reviews for this actually right after I finished reading. I'm gonna leave a link to the one that kind of like sums up my thoughts in a more articulate way in the description down below, but they agree. They were like, yeah, there was just like so much war and I just ended up not caring. I wanted to love this so much, and I just don't, and that's really disappointing. I am glad, I guess, that I only had access to the audiobook version of this rather than, you know, purchasing a copy for myself. I'd been I've been putting off purchasing a copy for myself because I like hardcovers and it's like impossible to find this book in hardcover, and now I don't have to, so I guess that's good. But yeah, I don't know, this just didn't really hit the spot for me. It didn't really scratch the itch. Like when I'm reading a book, I want it to satisfy some part of me. Like if it's fantasy, I want it to have some like cool twists and things that really get me going in that way, and if it's romance, I want it to be like you know, heartbreaking or just like really romantic. I didn't cry at this. This was not something that really made me that emotional, so I don't know. I don't think it had its intended effect on me. That being said, I can recognize that this is a beautiful novel. I can understand why this is other people's favorite. I think if you're someone who absolutely adores mythology, this is an amazing retelling. I just don't really like mythology is what I'm finding out. Like the whole morality, tragic side of things, it's just not really my thing. I don't like sad shit. But that's not like obviously why I disliked it. Not just because it was sad, it was just not the kind of story for me. So with all of that being said, tragically, you have selected the wrong video. Go back and watch my thoughts on Spinning Silver and you will be led to even more videos from there. I'll leave right here a link to the Spinning Silver video so you can carry on, or you can hit the back button, or you can click the link in the description of this video. But that's it. I feel like I should have something profound to say, and yet